right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Super Bros podcast. This one is for the bros. Before you do anything else, make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube and Spotify. I'm joined by Emmanuel Butts, my dude. We just did an interview where he talked to me. I think I'm a better host than I am a guest, but
nah, you did awesome, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. He got me an awesome gift, so I'll have to share that once I get home. But yeah, man. You are the host of the Calling Collective pod. You are an accomplished children's book author, and you are an active duty Army officer. So let's start from the top, man. How did you get to the military? First of all, actually, let's rewind that. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina, which is like the middle of nowhere, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a Marine Corps town. Actually. Okay. My parents are retired Marines. That's where I grew up in. And actually born in California, in San Bernardino, another Marine base. Yeah. And now I'm in the Army, so it worked out pretty well.
What level did your parents make it up to?
They were enlisted, actually, E7s.
It's a good career. So they both retired then?
Yeah. Went in together, retired together.
How did they meet? Did they meet before that?
Yeah, so they were actually high school sweethearts. And then later on my dad was going to the military because my mom didn't know what she wanted to do. Yeah. She was like, well, I'm going with you. So
that's awesome.
That's how it happened, bro. That's it.
Yeah, that's real love.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, the Marine Corps, that's crazy.
Were they like together throughout their entire career?
Nah, they weren't together the entire time. I think they started actually to like break up and not be together. Okay. And then they just, ended up being back together. So
did they go to different duty stations ever?
Yeah, I know he was in California and she might have been maybe in North Carolina when he was there. But I don't know. I don't know when they met back up actually, but okay. I'm here, so it must have happened sometime. Yeah.
Would you say that their experience in the military, like growing up around that, is that what led you to join the Army? Like, why the Army over other branches?
Well, definitely not, bro. I never knew what I wanted to do. Yeah. And honestly, like, I wanted to go in the Air Force, but Army had that money. That's where I went to. I got a scholarship. In this high school, I really never did anything. It wasn't into sports. I played sports, but I was really small. Okay. And so...
Not anymore.
Yeah, man, I'm putting on weight. People are like, "Do you play football?" I'm like,
it's the creatine and the cornflakes.
It wasn't the cornflakes. Nah, man, the Wheaties, bro. The Wheaties. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but so I was pretty small. I would say I was probably like, growing up, probably like 160, like all the time. And I don't know, maybe that's not that small, but to me, it was small. I was more chubby, I guess. Yeah. Yes, but I grew up like that. And then after that, came to college, started working out some more. Yeah, that's pretty much how I started getting some weight on now.
Did you go to so you went to college. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Elizabeth City State University, small school in North Carolina.
And then were you in ROTC?
Yeah. So I did. I remember you said you did. Oh yeah, yes. But yeah, I did ROTC, man. The cushest way to get a commission, bro. Nice. Not even gonna lie, it was pretty chill. So actually, like, bro, I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school, and I watched a movie. You seen The Edge of Tomorrow? Yeah. Yeah, so that's the only reason.
Great movie.
So he's like a private, like this man. I guess the whole reason for the Calling Collective is because I feel like growing up, I never knew what I wanted to do. I never knew like what my passion was. And so anyway, so watching this Tom Cruise movie, the Edge of Tomorrow, he's like a major at the beginning of the movie. He like defies the general, and then he becomes like a private. Like this man is getting done dirty. Yeah. Then at the end of the movie, he becomes an officer again. I'm like, man, this guy's getting some respect. Like, what's this guy doing? And my parents are like, oh, he's an officer. And then, because they're E7, so they're like, oh, you should do it. You should do it. So I'm like, all right, let me check it out. But I'm telling you, like, never played any sports, I didn't know I was athletic then. And then just really no ambition. And so thank God for a praying mom. And some parents had to like push me to do some great things. So I went and met the guy. She made me put on a suit, like bring a notebook. I was really just like putting on the front, honestly. And so I showed up, got like a conditional scholarship. Say you come your freshman year, you do well, and I did well, thank God.
Very cool. Yeah, OCS board was kind of similar, man. You put on a suit, and they're like, "Where's your tie?" I'm like, "I don't have one." They're like, "Find one."
Yeah, and then they're like critiquing.
You're like a civilian. You're talking to all these captains. Yeah, and like, I don't even know what a captain is at that point. Yeah, and they're like, "Why do you want to do this?" So I feel you on that.
Yeah, bro.
So you mentioned commissioning. What was that like when you finally became an officer? Like, were you like, yeah, I'm going to change the world?
Man, honestly, like I said, in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do then, but as time progressed, like I did some stuff in college, like I ran for like school positions, like ended up being like student body president, like a trustee for the university. I ended up doing that stuff, and I feel like I kind of started finding identity with like leadership. And so when I commissioned, but it's a different world in the Army, and like you're not leading people that are your age, you're leading like dudes that are like 30 years old, or like sometimes like 40 years old, or just like older guys. And so getting in the military was pretty cool, but it was definitely a challenge. Like that second lieutenant time, was that like pretty bad for you?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a platoon sergeant at my first assignment that had been in for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much of anything when I got in. So he pretty much did all of the platoon management. Like he did a lot of the training management, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, which is, platoon sergeant.
Yeah, you're supposed to execute.
I don't think I was as tied into that unit as I probably should have been, because I was still trying to figure out how to be in the Army, which is the challenge of being an officer. What was the hardest thing that you had to go through initially when you became an officer?
I would say, man, usually like a very nice, chill guy, and I didn't understand that in the Army or in the military, you got to be very like upfront and direct,
Mm-hmm.
And so for the soldiers, they'll do little, soldier things. And so you gotta nip it in the butt. Yeah, it's like, somebody, I remember I had soldiers like giving away toolboxes, like my property, like,
Oh, no.
and I'm like, brother, like that cannot happen. And so I learned like it's better to be upfront and direct in the forefront than at the end where you have to do it anyway. So it's like I'm usually nice, so I'll be like, hey man, like the guy giving away toolboxes, like, hey dude, like,
Yeah.
like don't mess, just being very aggressive, like, bro, like you cannot be giving away toolboxes beforehand, because afterwards I'm gonna have to pay for it and I'm gonna have to yell at you anyway. So like, I'm not a yeller, but you know what I mean.
It's really funny how people don't really know that their actions have consequences.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, I don't know. I feel like regardless of whether you go to college or whether you enlist, there's like those growing pains. That
for sure.
And it's like, they're living in the barracks. It's the same as living in the dorms. They have to develop certain levels of maturity and self-awareness.
I always say with the soldiers though, their college is now. So like the dumb mistakes I made as a freshman, sophomore, junior, like they're making that now. So yeah, you show a little grace.
Yeah, but you got through it. So you moved on. Well, you didn't move on. You're still in the military.
Yeah.
But got through that hard stuff. What led you to write children's books? It's very unique, and I didn't know that about you until we started talking more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tell us about your first book, and then what got you there.
Yeah, so like children's books is really, I feel like we all have a calling and a passion. Like for you, it might be fitness and like you said, like investing, all that type of stuff. But we also like most of the time we know from a child like what we want to do and what we want to be accomplished in. And so I looked at my nephews. It was like really a God idea. He gave me my nephews, my nieces, and just talking to them, seeing their different passions. The first book is called What's Your Passion? And so plug for that. So you can buy that if you want.
Yeah, but, where can they buy it?
Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. So Amazon, and I got a link in all my social bio. So
cool.
Go ahead and check it out.
We'll plug you at the end for sure.
Yeah, brother.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but looked at my nephews and nieces, and I saw they had different passions. Like one, it kind of matches like an engineer, likes to draw, likes to see the intricate details of things. One is very outspoken. Another is like an artist. And so, just seeing their different passions, and I put that into a book, and basically to speak to the inner child in you and in me, and to talk about like, hey, those passions you had as a child, they're not for any reason. Like somebody put that there, and you got to really explore that. So yeah. And the second and third books are part of a series, and basically along the same lines of passion. But one is like I am compassionate, I am kind. Cool. Those are the themes of the book. So affirmation books, so kids can know like at a young age, these are things you should be modeling yourself after, and to put in a story that is easy to digest.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Did you always want to be a writer, or was it just something that happened?
Nah, definitely not. just over time. Yeah, I felt like I saw because you can't always convince someone that's stuck in their ways. Go back and pursue that passion you had as a kid. But like kids they're moldable. And even like my wife, she teaches like little children, and she's like, that's a very impressionable age. And so like if we can convince them now, like, hey, your dreams matter, and like don't let go of those dreams, like you're developing, like say if I wanted to box and I started at 20 years old, it's going to be exponentially different than somebody started at like 15 or like 10 years old, is boxing all their life. And that's what you see with a lot of successful people. They've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
What is like 20 years to become an overnight success? Yeah, I remember you told me that.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day. It's like people only see that one day transformation, but behind it is 10 to 12 years.
Iceberg, man. Like, there's a foundation there. So that's why I wrote the books, because children have those dreams, and we all have those, but we got to make sure we don't let them go, because we have the influence of life. Like I was saying, talking about before in the other podcast, like your parents sometimes, through their experience, they can kind of limit, like, because if they haven't done it, they don't really know anything about it. Yeah. And so they might look at you like, hey, that can't be done. Yeah. Or in your case, like your dad was like, hey, like, if you want to be a football player, I'm going to be real and tell you the reality. Yeah. But not all parents are like that. Like my parents, like I've told them like, hey, I want to one day maybe get into politics. Yeah. Man, it was like hard not go over well because they're like, oh, these people are crooked, and like, you know, but it's like somebody has to be integral and somebody has to be right. Yeah. And so I feel like it's doable, but you know, that's why it's good to hold on to the dreams you had as a kid. And I remember wanting to be president, like as a kid, to be real. You know, people can also like your dreams and your passions just because like maybe they didn't achieve theirs. They'll hit you what they think is reality, but sometimes it's not even reality. It's just like their failures like popping up.
I think that's something that's really important, is to almost keep a certain level of audacity to you. Like I remember talking to people, even as an adult, you know, I think. So this is when you and I are probably deployed around the same time, right? I'm walking with two other officers, and we're just all getting to know each other because we're kind of forced to be in a group while we receive equipment and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, you know, like, what do you, you know, where do you see yourself going in the future? I'm like, I want to be a millionaire. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I want to be a millionaire. Yeah. I have to know what that feels like. And it's not just for the money. It's for, like, unlocking those secrets of life and how great life can be.
For sure.
And I was explaining that, and they're like, well, that's not realistic. I'm like, well, you're not my friend then.
That's good, man.
Like you have to have a certain level of audacity or just crazy belief in yourself to make anything possible. Richard Sherman has an awesome quote that I heard when I was a kid. It was like, before you're good, you have to believe that you're great. Something to that effect. Like you have to believe you're great before you're even good. Yeah. And that's what I've tried to do throughout my whole life. So I really think that's an awesome message that you convey to your nephews and hopefully more people. Yeah. Throughout the creative process of writing that book, who did you lean on the most? Was it yourself, or was it, you know, your wife's experience as a teacher? Like, where did you draw that inspiration from?
Yeah. So the first book was actually, you know, for my nephew. I would have to give all the credit to God, bro. I'm a believer, man. And
heck yeah.
I feel like, God definitely gave me these ideas, and like, but you know, but sometimes we can, you know, doubt ourselves and not want to put like out what he's put already in us. I believe like we're seeds. And so like you have the fitness, like that passion, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't just come from nowhere, you know, just like your kid, like he's going to have passions and he's going to have things that's in him, but it's going to come from probably your wife and you and the things you're instilling in him. And so, you know, that doesn't come from just anywhere. And so I think that's important to hone in on those passions and to develop them.
Very cool. Very cool. You've mentioned faith quite a bit. Yeah. So, was this something that was always a staple in your life, or did you have to kind of come to it on your own?
Yeah. So growing up, my parents definitely like in the church, like we're in there like every day, bro. Like going hard.
Heck yeah. Did you have the type of church where it's like it's sold out by like Saturday night? Like
what do you mean?
Like you gotta get concert tickets to go to this thing?
Concert? Oh no, bro. No, it wasn't like
those are the type of churches I love.
It wasn't concert tickets, no, but but we were definitely in there and in there quite a bit. Yeah. But I wouldn't say, man, I had a personal relationship with God until like later on in life.
What age was that?
Actually, like right before college, bro. Like I told you, I didn't really in high school I didn't have any ambition or anything I really wanted to do with my life. So right before college, I felt like I would fail. Like if I didn't basically give God my life. Yeah. And so that's what I did. And I really had no confidence, I wouldn't talk to anybody, or like, to be real, like at work, for a while, they called me the people's lieutenant. But like, bro, that was not me. Like, and so I had to give all that credit to God. But so going into college as a freshman, I went in there kind of like just very impressionable and people just not really knowing who I was, right? So I gave God my life, right? And then that's when I started running for like all these positions in college and like it was like Mr. Sophomore and a vice president of like student government and then ended up being like president of student government and then ended up being a trustee of the university. And so, yeah, and so I give all that credit to God, man, because I had no confidence before that, honestly. Yeah. And so that's where all these passions come from. And it's really a blessing to like, and I'm still trying to build and to get where I need to be, but really got to give that credit all to God.
Very cool, man. Yeah, man. Were you baptized in college or was it like?
No, I actually wasn't. I was actually baptized at Bullock, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just a process, man, of God shaping you to who he's designed you to be.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you I got baptized in the back 40?
No, bro. What?
It was right before we went out to deploy. Our chaplain was making his rounds. He's like, this is a big season of change in people's lives. And this is when we have to really lean into our faith. And I was like, okay. Because I hadn't been baptized before that.
That's fair.
And I really wanted to. So I went up to him like, hey, will you baptize me in the river today? And so we got a group of like 7 or 8 people. And I'll never forget that, man. It was awesome.
That's a blessing, man.
Yeah.
That's very stuff. Yeah.
I think being baptized as an adult is so much more valuable.
Oh, for sure.
You're going to remember it.
Yeah, you know what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were you at? Did you go to a church around town or?
Yeah, so I went up to, I was baptized in Petersburg, like it's a church, like, I think it's called, Transformation Church, actually.
I think I've heard of them.
Yeah, it's right outside of Post, but went baptized. They had a big event in the parking lot. It's pretty dope.
Nice.
Man, but it's just, declaration of your faith and like what God's done for you and just show the world like that's what you're about. So
ultimate ice plunge challenge.
Yeah, right? It was warm though.
That's good. So going from children's book author, you're continuing to forge the way forward on that. Do you have any like big goals as far as that goes? Is there a certain number of people you're trying to reach?
Yeah. So honestly, the big goal is to make the Calling Collective, like you said, with it all is all encompassing, like a web of wealth, like you said. So the Calling Collective is not just the children's book, it's not just the podcast, but I ultimately want to make it a conference. And so, we come for, basic life skills like finances, maybe how to like organize your life, that type of thing. But then I want to have people like you. I want to have like doctors, lawyers, so you can see the behind the scenes of how people got to where they are. And I think that would really help because there's a lot of people out here lost and not knowing, what was I born to do? Like, what am I called to do? And if you have something like that, like a conference that can guide you, show you like, okay, if they could do it, it's doable. And like for you, like maybe you went there for football and you're like, okay, you meet an NFL player. They're like, hey, I'm the 1% of the 1%. You know what I mean? And you're like, maybe this isn't for me, but you go there and you find something that you're actually passionate about.
Right.
That's like that's what I really want to get into, man. That's the main goal.
Yeah, I think like with the rise of social media, it's been very cool to see the more affluent, like influential men on Instagram who are, they might be just a hodgepodge of personalities, but each of them bring their own value.
Yeah, for sure, brother.
I'm going to drop Andrew Tate's name right now. You could bleep me out, but it's a very smart model, right?
Yeah.
He's got his own experience. Justin Waller has his own experience. They all have different backgrounds, but they come together and they develop people through a different platform where they all use different areas of their own expertise. So I think that'd be really cool. I'd be honored to be.
Yeah, brother, of course. Yeah.
Just
we'll plug it whenever it is.
Yeah, we'll plug it. If you or anyone is interested in raising funds or funding this project, just let us know. We'd love to connect with you.
For sure, definitely.
But yeah, having that platform to change people's lives and shorten the learning curve, I think, for young men. That's what it's all about. You want everyone to be better who's coming after you, especially kids like your nephews.
Sure.
Man. Let's see. We talked about, I picked up on one thing earlier. What's it like to be a trustee of a university?
Yeah, bro. So like as the trustee of the university, it was pretty cool. Yeah. I met a lot of like in that position, you wouldn't think it was a pretty small school, but then it's in the North Carolina system of universities. So like UNC Chapel Hill, like NC State, all those types of schools, East Carolina University, they're all in that system. So I met a lot of like heavy hitters and people I still connect with today. Yeah. Met some, actually like some politicians as well. And I wouldn't think, from like something small like that I could get some pretty good network. So it was pretty dope, man. And
Yeah.
Had some great opportunities, had some people like willing to sponsor me and like,
Right.
like recommendations. It's just like very great network. And so
Yeah.
it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, definitely tap into that. I think it can almost be overwhelming sometimes when you go to those events.
Yeah.
Like 2020, 2023 was like huge year for networking. It's like I have so many random names in my phone where I'm like, oh, like you could pull from them, you could pull from them.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So you said you met a lot of politicians in
Yeah.
the space. Is that what got you into being interested in politics, or was there something else?
I would say, man, I feel like I said, I'm not that aggressive of a guy. When there's injustice, I am very aggressive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's like an innate thing for me. So I feel like politics and being a politician is somewhere you could really like help the little guy. Especially, what makes me very passionate about it is that there's a lot of people that are incumbent and just been in there for a long time, don't really know the struggles of like the modern day people and the everyday guy. And so I feel like having someone in there that really cares and that would really vouch for the people that are on the street, like working like the blue collar guys, that's what made me passionate about it. And then like seeing that it's doable through like those committees. So I guess in a way, it inspired that because every system, like the school system and the school board, they're kind of all ran the same, like through committees and through boards. Like the U.S. government is all the same. It's just on smaller scales.
Right.
So I feel like it was a really great opportunity to see like it's doable. And then, like you said, I got contacts in my phone about it, and I can hit them up right now when I'm ready to take that step.
Do you think you would want to build this platform to a higher level before taking that leap, or what are the things that are contingent upon you becoming a politician, or at least trying to?
Yeah, so I was gonna do the FLET program in the military. I was gonna get them to pay for my law school. The military, you got to pay for it with years with everything you do.
There's a lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah, and so I didn't think that route was for me. So probably meantime build this platform, eventually go to law school, and then probably practice outside the military, and then start grassroots, help paying my dues to some bigger politicians, and then after that get in myself.
Very, very cool. Do you know what type of law you'd be interested in doing?
Probably civil law, things that really affect like the community, smaller cases, and then one day get up to the bigger national types.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see now with the way that politics have shifted in the past year, how possible it is to break in. Right?
Oh, for sure,
I mean, we just saw Pete Hegseth getting his confirmation hearing for Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, for real.
He didn't have any background.
Really no back. Yeah,
no back. The most underqualified person to be Secretary of Defense is more than likely going to be nominated. So, it helps to have a platform like he did. For sure. It helps to have a military background like you do because you can relate to people. I think you definitely have my vote.
My God. Oh, man. No, didn't hear any policies or anything. Just
good guy.
Oh, my God. But yeah, I thought that was pretty dope too. I saw Elon Musk like on a committee. I'm like, man, this is pretty crazy. People that you would not expect, like untraditional politicians. That's pretty dope though.
Yeah, man. I've thought about it too. It was funny. I was watching that hearing and I was like, do you think I could be a senator?
You could, bro.
And they're like, nah, you're too rough around the edges.
But I mean, honestly, the president's rough around the edges, and that's what we need, right now. Like, that's what we need. Like, somebody's not going to take like the stuff from the other countries and like. So that is what we need, and there's a spot for everybody. Yeah,
I'll be the water boy.
Be the water boy. No, man, you can do
something like that. So let's talk more about the Calling Collective. How long did it take you to come up with the name? How long have you been planning? How long did you plan to have this show before you started?
Man, it's been a minute. I actually did, bro. For a while, I was doing more like not lifestyle content, but like maybe like funny, motivational type content, and I did that I probably started that in like 2021.
Yeah.
And I was doing that. Like, if you go on my page, like my actual page, like Emmanuel Butts, it's a lot of that type of stuff up there. And it was cool, but I feel like I wanted to get more into like actually getting people where they need to be. And so I got more serious about it. And I saw when I started doing a podcast type setting, interviewing is what people want to see. And they want to see the behind the scenes. Right. And so that's how I got into the Calling Collective and really tapping into, showing people different callings. Yeah, really.
That's awesome. So challenges as far as that goes. You and I have spoken offline about stuff, but what's been the biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, bro. Editing curve is no joke, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen some of your stuff. Like I've hit him up and been like, hey, dude, like can you show me how to get my stuff like at this level? Because you got some pretty good content, man. And so I would say editing, probably getting notable guests, and so you really just gotta grind, like honestly, and be willing to like put yourself out there. And that's not the easiest thing to do, but you know, as you do it more often, it gets easier, and you'll be able to do those interviews and it not be as burdensome. Yeah. What about you? You got any like short like
challenges?
Yeah.
So I've learned this about myself, and it's like the value of getting older, right? How old are you?
26.
You're 26.
Yeah.
Okay, 27.
Yeah.
I've learned that I am afraid of success, and that's because when you feel that you're about to make a breakthrough, sometimes you put it off, and you're like, I don't know if it's perfect yet, or I don't know if I'm ready to take that leap. And so learning that about myself, I realized that there's no point in putting things off, because ultimately, if you put it off and then you come back to it and you have that moment of inspiration, that's a moment of inspiration you could have had 6 months ago.
Bro, that's facts, bro.
And it, like, nobody's journey is ever perfect, but you have to give yourself enough grace to understand that you're gonna, like, it will never be the same for anybody. Your moment of clarity will be different than somebody else's. Yeah. I remember before building Develop From Within, like the actual tangible website, right? I was afraid of building a website because how much time it took. Dude, AI is amazing.
The tools now,
Hey.
it is like they will do everything for you.
Yeah, Squarespace, you need to sponsor this show. But yeah, dude, I literally, like, I put it off for a year because I was like, I don't know if I can manage all this. Like, there's so much stuff going on. You know, I'm getting married, having a baby, dog, house, car, whatever. Like, all this stuff was just compiling, and so I was making excuses. And then I just sat down for like 30 minutes one day, and I built an entire website. And I was like,
and you look back, I could have been done this.
Yeah, I could have done that a year ago. Maybe the product wouldn't have been the same, but like, that's a year versus somebody else that is moving faster than me.
Yeah, and sometimes I look at guys that are, you would say, succeeding in spaces you want to be in, and it's like, man, this stuff is not even, it's like, it doesn't even look as nice as you thought it would. Yeah. It's like they built their platform and like they develop over time, make it better over time.
Right. Speed kills, man. Speed and repetition will teach you more because you're failing or you're winning, right? But the way I see it, there's only a certain number of videos that I can put out realistically with my life. I'm probably not going to post every day. Some people post every day and that's why they get seen. But if you just make a habit of putting content out there, you'll know what people like and don't like.
That's true.
That's the whole point. You know, it's like, okay, oh, you're good. I know that people have short attention spans. So
yeah, that's
like,
true.
Okay, let's lean into a little bit more shorter form content. Yeah. Or people might really like this podcast. So it's like having different approaches to the same issue is the smart way to do it.
Yeah. If you never get yourself out there, you'll never know. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing for me. Like you said, you try those different types of content, and then over time you'll be like, okay, this is what, you know, like the short form content is really good, but it's catching the people's attention. Like, okay, and I need to use captions this time. Maybe I need to use that B-roll. And honestly, a lot of it is people, like the successful guys, they look at whatever they have and it's like they compare your stuff with that. And it's like, if it looks the part, you can be talking about nothing. If it looks the part, they're like, oh, it's good to go. And they'll like it and follow. Yeah. And so it's just really just playing on people's like preferences and like human nature.
Yeah, it's very funny because there's just pages that I kind of compare myself to or like have kind of used for inspiration.
Yeah, for sure.
And like as soon as you lean into a trend, we mutually follow each other, right? As soon as you lean into a trend for yourself, they actually start doing the same thing.
I'm like,
are you copying me?
I'm telling you, it's like this. It's not as like elite as you would think. No, you know, but it's us like maybe self-doubt and thinking like we're not good enough. But it's people build these platforms and honestly, like kind of say whatever. But as long as it looks good, they're good. So, but you just gotta be confident in yourself and keep posting, like you said.
Yeah, very cool, man.
Yeah, brother.
What else? What? Let's see. What have I not asked you? What do you want to share with the people that you haven't really talked about?
I think that's it, brother.
You sure?
Yeah.
How much time are we at?
Where we at? Yeah, we start around 2 something.
What's your gym split like nowadays?
I try to work out with my wife like a good husband.
Yeah, let's talk about marriage. That's cool. Hell yeah. I mean, Christ, yeah. Do you guys curse in the household?
There is no swear jar, but you're good, brother.
Yeah, I know I got a sandpaper
No,
squad.
you're good.
My son's gonna know so many bad words, man.
That's
I have a
hard,
bad
man.
habit. But yeah, like when did you guys get married?
So we actually got married in March 24. Yeah, so and
Okay.
no one knew, bro. I think we
Yeah.
talked about it.
Yeah. So what's the story behind not telling people?
I don't know. She came down here to visit me, and I was like, man, what if we got married? And then, yeah, I'm telling you, that was literally it. Like, and we talked about it, and she's like, no, like, you need to come talk to my dad. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. Then she, like, the same day, she's like, you know what? We should get married. And then I'm like, okay. I don't know. For me, it's just like the term boyfriend, it just seems like so fake. And like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. I wasn't scared of commitment, so I was just like, what's up? Like, let's do this. And
What's up?
yeah. And then we like researched the stuff. We actually made a podcast like the day before we got married.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about relationships and stuff. Next day married, bro. So went
That's
up to
crazy.
Nashville, like was it Just As a Piece? I don't know. And got the dude to sign it, like in the car. Like it was very like,
Dang.
yeah, bro. Like we just made it happen.
So did a ceremony happen after?
Bro, no ceremony, no nothing. I'm still waiting on the ceremony.
Hey, you know what? What I mean, is there a time of year that you would like more, like summer?
We actually thinking about doing it on the 1 year. So
Yeah.
So just so we have because when you get married and no one knows, it's a little hostile.
Yeah. How did the parents take that? Did you talk to her dad before?
But didn't talk to anyone, bro. We talked to like one of a couple we know.
Yeah.
And I definitely should have talked to her dad, but it is what it is now. So, but I mean, you can't go back.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, bros. But I think it was like 2 weeks later, we flew home. I told my parents. She told, and I bought her a ring. Like we got married, no ring, no nothing. And
Wow.
I bought her a ring, brought it home, like proposed in the rain. 'Cause proposed in the rain. She wanted to feel like a movie, and so I did that for her. Proposed in the rain.
Proposed in the rain.
I did, yeah. But we were already married, so it's okay. But I went back home. I told my parents, and she told her parents, kind of the same time, but different houses. My parents were like, "Oh, okay, well, hey." Her parents were not like that, and it was very hard for me because someone you love is just not getting the love you think they. I didn't expect it to go over like that, but I can understand now. But just being young and you just be like, "Hey, deal with it." I dealt with it. So
yeah, no, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it was not cool though with their parents.
Yeah,
for a while, but it's good.
In the Rain though, that's some album cover stuff.
She picked me up in the airport, and then she knew I was gonna get a ring. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go.
Didn't you know? She didn't know I was gonna propose.
You knew? You did it at the airport?
It was at the airport.
Wow.
We were about to leave. He told me to get out the car, like we had to get something.
Get out the car, woman.
So I get out the car, walking around,
I did remember.
But I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I couldn't have her tell her parents without having a ring. Like I feel like, okay, I already kind of went behind her back. I need to at least show them that I'm an honest guy to give her a ring, and so it was good to go. What about you, man? How was that marriage?
Man, it sucks. No, it's cool. Yeah, we talked about it earlier on your show, actually. Yeah, I would not have as good of a life as I do with my wife. She's very supportive. Even if she doesn't understand all of the things that I'm working on, she like makes an effort to make my life easier. Right now I'm training pretty hard for a goal that I have. All my food is ready. My lunches, man, like I haven't really cooked for myself in probably like almost a year. It's so great. I don't know. I try to live up to the standard that she's set, even though I fall short a lot. Marriage is really cool, man. There's nothing better than team, nothing better than family, because you can go very far by yourself, but if you want to go even further, like you need to have that union. You need to have somebody in your corner. You don't even necessarily have to be married, but just having somebody that will support you and be there when times are tough. It's really only your family, and then the family that you create.
That's
at the end of the day.
Yeah, as I go forward in the military, I see that as well.
Yeah,
a lot of things want your time, but what your priority is really your family. And like, even with my wife and, you know, just being new in marriage, you think that, you know, I need to do all these things, but quickly she reminds me like, hey, like home is here and like we need to establish ourselves, especially before we have kids and add other things like we need to establish. And like you said, I've not cooked in like forever, bro. I forgot. I think she asked me to make something the other day. I literally forgot like
I don't know how to make the grilled.
She's a blessing and like definitely makes my life easier as well.
Yeah.
And you don't see, I know for me, like I didn't see like how messed up I was until like having her come around and just like, not expose me, but just like, dang, like I need work as a man, like, and as a human, like I have to lead you now. And
yeah. I think it's so interesting how people our age and our generation, they fight marriage so hard. And that's not the point. Like the whole point of coming together with somebody like that is, number one, it keeps you accountable to who you are. Like,
for sure.
I think it was Alex Hormozy and Layla Hormozy. They dated for a little while and then they got married, and they did that as a forcing function to stay accountable to each other.
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, well, we're married now. We're not going to go back.
Yeah.
We need to actually put the work into this relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people fight against it so hard. But I think when you have a good, healthy marriage with a person that you've vetted properly, it allows people to fall into their natural roles.
Yeah. And I know for sure it's also like an example to other people. And like me and you, we have good marriages, and that inspires another generation, like inspires your kid to like, hey, I want to be like mom and dad, or, you know, like I've seen good marriages. I know it's a thing that works. And like statistically, like kids that grow up in 2-parent households are way better off.
Yeah.
Like, because that's, for, you know, in my belief, that's the way it's designed. Like you can't just be with your mom. You can't just be with your dad. Like you need both. You need that nurturing and you need that discipline as well. So it's really a blessing, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Your mom sets the standard for unconditional love.
Yeah, bro.
Your dad sets the standard for what it means to be a leader. Moms and dads, it's a very important responsibility. Don't take it lightly. Yeah, man. How is it? What's been the biggest challenge? You mentioned developing as a leader in your household. You know, taking on that role of responsibility. What's been the biggest challenge for you? What do you think the thing is that you need to work on the most? Is it folding laundry or what?
Man, probably probably helping out, because right now she does like a part-time, she subs, and so I feel like I don't appreciate her enough. She still comes home, like makes dinner, like make sure the house is good, and like I could do a better job of like appreciating that, and that just takes a lot of sacrifice as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like also like, you know, you grow up, and I don't know how your household was fully, but you grow up and you see one thing, and you're like, okay, this is what marriage has to be. But like, I know my brother told me, it's like, their marriage is not your marriage. Yeah. And that's so true. It's different people. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean she's general. Like, you can generalize her, like every woman out there. Right. And just because I'm a man, you know,
they're not all crazy. Guys.
Yeah, they're not all crazy, but they're a little crazy. But yeah, so I feel like that. And honestly, like seeing her needs and putting her needs before mine. Yeah. Because like you said, being single it's totally different. And like I said, I had a lot of selfish ways that I didn't even know I had until, like, just a very simple one. I don't like to share. I'll just be real. Like, food.
I hate
bro, the food, I'm like, I'm a grown man. I need to eat my fill. Like, don't ask me for none. But, you know, I've gotten better.
America fights for his food.
Yeah, bro. I'm like, I need to eat all this food. But anyway, so I share now. You know, I'm better with that. I share my food. Don't I share my food?
Does he share, or do you just take when he orders it?
Like it depends on the meal.
So anything with fries, you're like, that's mine.
It depends on the day. Hey, that's better than not sharing at all. All right. So yeah, I have
sharing is caring. Let's go.
Man. It's a girl. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, brother. Cool. What about you? What would you say you could work on?
One thing that my wife and I have worked on really hard is me being present. So not necessarily physically present. Yeah. That's only part of the equation, but being mentally present too. Another thing I've learned about myself is that my mind doesn't stop, right? Like I'm able to sleep pretty well at night, but it doesn't stop. It's like when you find that passion for something in life, you don't want to put it off anymore because you've already wasted.
It's like
I'm like, why was I not buying real estate when I was 3 years old? You know, that type of stuff. So I'm like, man, I gotta get to the money. I gotta get to the money. And so she's like, hey, by the way, we're all here still. You have to like actually interact and like not just be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So being present and, dude, having a kid, getting a dog, getting all of these responsibilities, it does force you to slow down a little bit.
Brother,
So
yeah.
it's a blessing, because then I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I can focus all of my energy on this task, and then I can get up and walk over to my couch and sit down with my family.
Beautiful, bro. I've had a tendency to like overcommit, and like, man, my
Yeah.
wife is like so good about and like, yo, you need to calm down. You're doing way too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a mistake that a lot of high achievers have, is they overestimate what they can do in a year,
Yeah.
and they underestimate what they can do in 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's good stuff.
I'm not going to be able to get all of my goals accomplished this year.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. It's going to happen. Something's going
Yeah.
to change. Something's going to be affected.
And as you work towards it, you know.
Right. But, you know, can I achieve 90% of those? Probably.
Yeah.
You know, but let's focus on one thing at a time.
Blessing to have that sounding board. That's why it's important to marry right.
Yeah. Don't marry a crazy person.
Yeah, you can't marry just anyone. You need somebody that can help you develop your vision and then help you like achieve that vision as well. So
Yeah.
I remember you telling me like your wife is like a CrossFit, or shouldn't you like do CrossFit type work?
Yeah, so when I met her, she was coming off of a college soccer background.
Okay, yeah.
So she was already running a lot, and then she got into like running half marathons.
Yeah, okay.
So she'd run a couple, I think, at that point, and I was like, I'm not a runner. Dude, I didn't even like to wake up before 10 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, man, like I was in a bad way. The Army was abusing me so hard.
Yeah, you were like kind of just...
I didn't know who I was, really.
Dang.
Like, I met her right at the precipice of becoming more of who I am today, right? Like, I was already, I would say, on a good trajectory. I had good ideas, but I wasn't acting on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, she went from running, she got more into CrossFit while she was pregnant. So that actually helped. I think it really helped.
Yeah, my wife had talked about that. Yeah, like being like already having those muscles developed so the baby comes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I truly think that if she wasn't as strong and conditioned as she was, she would have needed a C-section. Like, the baby had the cord wrapped around his, I think it was his torso or his neck. It was wrapped around twice.
Wow.
So he was stuck for like hours and hours. And we didn't know why, because his heart rate kept dropping down. And we're like, hey, this is looking pretty bad. And then they didn't tell us how bad it was, but there was probably 30 doctors in the room by the time that he came out, because they're like, we don't know if we're going to have to like revive this kid or what.
Yeah.
So I think that really has to do with how in shape she was. Obviously, God too.
Yeah, that's a blessing in itself, bro.
Yeah.
But like, I see. Then you got an ultra marathon runner, CrossFit, and then man, you're like into fitness, powerlifting yourself, bro. And like, I feel like my wife is like very into the kids, and like she's just a carer and a teacher. Yeah. And so when other people do try to do things with kids, like it wouldn't work, but for her, it's like that. So she go and do something that other people can't do. So, but I feel like for me, like with the children's books and that type of thing, she has that same type of passion for kids and wanted to develop them early. So I feel like I definitely know she's a blessing from God, but it's just so important to have somebody that can align with your vision, man.
Yeah.
And like has that same type of passion. So you're not butting heads.
Right.
And trying to go two different directions. So
yeah,
bro, that's awesome.
What was your experience like as a younger Emmanuel trying to learn how to date?
Yeah, bro.
We don't have to get too into the weeds on this, but
yeah, brother.
I don't want you to incriminate yourself, bro.
Yes. Get into the weeds.
The producer said, "Get into the weeds, guys."
I was out here doing some wild stuff. Not gonna lie, but
living with the Lord.
Nah, bro, I was not living with the Lord, but you know, restoration.
Dog.
Yeah, I'm still a dog, man, in a cage now. I'm in a cage. Okay, yeah, I was out here. I was a closet hoe, man.
Was it a hoe or were you a pimp?
I was closet. I was the hoe. I was probably the hoe in the pimp, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Setting up calls and whatnot, but
yeah, the little black book.
Yeah, man, I was doing what I needed to do, but not what I needed to do.
Now, did that come naturally your whole life? Because I feel like you're a pretty swaggy guy. I wasn't that cool though. I didn't have confidence until I would say probably everything cool in my life happened like when I turned 22 and beyond, you know. But until then, it was like working on who I was. Were you always a ladies' man?
Ladies' man is wild. It's a wild term. This man trying to get me. A ladies' man? I would say definitely not, bro. But with that God confidence, that I'm telling you, bro, with the God confidence is using my powers for evil. And you know, I had a relationship with God, but I wasn't like really trying to like live that life, you know. So, but got that confidence in college. I was kind of out here, but you know, thank God, thank God things changed, and you know that I was able to make better decisions. And you know, you have college exes and people that are crazy, but I feel like that helped me to lead me to my wife. So,
How did you meet your wife?
Yeah, so actually we've grown up together in like her church. And we kind of grew up together. Her granddad's a pastor, and then our churches used to come like visit each other and stuff. And they always used to try to put me on with her sister actually. So like her sister, but I never like we never dated or nothing like that. So I was like, thank God, man. And so,
It would have been awkward.
bruh, then maybe like 3 years back, I like hit her up on Instagram.
Okay.
Tried to DM her. She curved me so hard.
What was the message?
All right.
We basically already kind of knew each other. It wasn't like a hi, how are you? How have you been? Like
Gotcha. Straight to the point.
It was just like, are you single? I'm like,
hey, that's
what type of time are you on?
That's
I
good.
was on that type of.
That's very
sure. I was definitely. She posted a picture. I was like, "What's up with it?" But yeah,
What was the picture? Was it like a thirst trap?
It was a thirst trap.
You like knitting a sweater?
She was poking the butt. We don't put the picture in here. She was poking the butt.
Is that your catchphrase?
Poking the. I guess, man. No, I can't have that. Let's catch it. Yeah, couldn't. But yeah, man. She curved me like so hard. I was like, whatever. And like, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Do you want to know the real truth of like how we met?
Sure.
Bro, I troll. I don't know why, but I just troll about like glizzies and hot dogs. I just like post stuff like about to get a glizzy today. I don't know. It's just it's just funny, bro. I'm not gonna lie. So I just was posting stuff, and it was like I'd made like, which is wild. I made like 3 posts in 1 week about it on my story, but she slid up every time, and I was like, no one else is going this hard.
Nobody else is talking about glizzies.
Nobody wants these glizzies. Like, yeah. So I was like, I gotta tap in. This means something.
It's a God thing.
Yeah, bro. It's a God thing, man. It's a glizzy God thing. But yeah, I did that, and then, bro, after that, I don't know. We just started talking, and bro, we weren't even like dating for long. Like, we dated for. I think we met in November. It was like Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, we met in Raleigh, North Carolina. Then after that, like hit it off. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I wasn't attracted to her. I don't know. She's beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, but I was not. I wasn't attracted to her. I wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah.
And then maybe like, I don't know. Just after that, we started talking and stuff. I went to pre-ranger, like to go to ranger school. And when I was in pre-ranger, she wrote me a note like every day, like in her notes. Like at the end of pre-ranger, I got my phone and I saw. I was like, dude, she's been doing this whole time. And I felt like nobody ever done nothing like that for me. And I dated a lot of crazy women, so I knew this wasn't crazy. I was like, you know what? This might be something worth looking into. And then like over time, man, that's how we just started getting closer and closer.
It's funny you say that because I actually, if you're a lady listening to this show, take notes.
Yes,
because
take notes.
You could get compliments your whole life and not appreciate them. But someone who's just stocky, handsome guy like this dude right here,
gosh.
He receives one compliment, he's like, we're getting married. That's how powerful your words are.
Powerful words. It could be one word away.
But I say that because my wife did something similar. We were living an hour apart. She was in Nashville. I was in Clarksville. And I remember going to check my mail one weekend. I had just come back from her house. There was a letter from her in the mail. And I'm like, that's a little different.
Yeah, for sure.
So I read it, and, it was like a lot of things that were very personal to me that she cared about and chose to include in the letter. And she kept doing that stuff over and over again. Yeah, it's just the little things that go a long way.
I'm telling you, and it's like, it's so cliche, but like when you know, it's like, there's no other way to explain it, but this person is different than anybody else you ever been with your entire life. And so, that's my blessing, which is Rochelle. She's here.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle.
You're a blessing.
Shout out your wife, man. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Hi. I won't share your name, but it's...
Oh, my bad.
It's Kaylin. Anyway, no, it's fine. It's all good. They all know who she is anyway. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I wasn't really initially overly attracted to my wife either.
Word? See, bro?
No, and I feel like that's better because I'm gonna lay it out, man. The super hot chicks, they're single for a reason. There's something.
What is the chart where it's like
the hot crazy matrix?
Yeah, crazy matrix. The hotter, the crazier they are.
Yeah. I want someone that's well rounded, right?
Yeah, you want somebody
beautiful, smart, funny, also like down to earth.
Yeah.
But if like you'll see opposite ends of the spectrum. Like obviously, there's people that are not good looking at all.
Yeah, for sure. You do need to be attracted to them.
Yes. There has to be a certain level of attraction. But then you see people on the opposite end of the spectrum who are like, they know that they're hot and they can't be talked to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want anything to do with them because there's something going on.
Yeah.
They're gonna end
complex.
They're gonna end up 45 with like 3 cats and a small dog, and that's the only people giving them attention.
Yeah. Yeah. So choose wisely.
Yeah. Don't fall into that trap, man.
I couldn't have picked a better wife for me.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Again, I got to give it to God, man, because I was out here choosing the wrong ones every time. Crazy, very crazy.
Yeah.
Every time.
Maybe they thought the same about you, too. I don't know.
I might have been.
But, like, Emmanuel's dangerous. They probably thought the same about you.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm not dangerous anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Not
Love me or hate me, I know the truth.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? I'm a gangster.
I'm a gangster.
Gangster of love. Well, cool, man.
Yeah, brother.
I really appreciate you inviting me into your home.
Of course, brother.
Like, amazing studio, amazing setup you got. I'm excited to see where this continues to go for you. So I appreciate the opportunity, brother.
Oh my God.
Guys, it's been another episode of the Super Bros podcast. As always, this one is for the bros. Till next time, appreciate you guys.
Later.
See ya. Thanks, Rochelle.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Get you.
How are you feeling about moving and everything?
Yeah. Bro, we should have done a do you do a thumbnail?
Thumbnail?
Yeah. Can we sit down there?
Let's do it.
Ray, can you do this?
I'm gonna take it.
Thanks for saying that.